Recently, Kim, aka Stan, bought Usman's mom a cow so she can see what a swell person she is.
I'm really hoping when the cow gets here that they're just gonna see like what a good person I am and be like, hey, oh my God, she bought us a cow.
I don't know about you guys, but I was never taught growing up that someone's a good person if they buy you a cow, but whatever floats your boat. This feels like the 90-day spinoff of that story, Jack and the Beanstalk, because I believe a cow was traded for some magic beans.
Today, I am going to meet Usman's mom and the family, and I just feel like I just want them to like me so bad. I've never had to try to convince anybody to like me as much as I want his mom to like me.
If you've watched my channel for a minute, you probably know by now that I'm not a Nigerian man, but I'm willing to bet that in Nigeria, it's not common to buy someone a cow when you've never met them before in real life. A little common sense goes a long way, but Kim said, nah, I'll have none of that. So she ends up buying the cow and then bringing it over to Usman's family to try and impress them. But what they gather from the situation is that this is in fact a bribe, and she's trying to buy them a cow and take away their son. As you all are probably aware by now, Kim is a very interesting case because she started off as a fan of the show who found her way on the show by going on the show with Usman. And I'm gathering from the situation that she didn't watch his season with baby girl Lisa, his ex-wife, because in that season, Lisa bought his family a goat. And that didn't go over well either. They hated her as well. Last time we covered Love and Hip Hop Nigeria, Kim, aka Stan, threw a drink in Usman's face when he mentioned potentially taking multiple wives, something that she verbally agreed with before she touched down in Nigeria. Not the best way to express yourself at 51 years of age, but it's like the old saying goes, with age comes desperation. Before arriving to Nigeria, Kim did the most to convince her friends and family back home in the United States that she's comfortable with Usman taking multiple wives as long as she's the first wife and the other women have no rights.
Obviously, I can't have children, so we would have a second wife that he would have children with. I know it sounds crazy, but like women there, they're like brought up to do this. You know what I mean?
This right here is big time colonizer energy. She assumes that all the women in Nigeria are brought up to be breeders. Let's see what Nigerian women are actually like.
We are patient, we are homely, we are very good people. We are very hardworking and creative.
I think Nigerian women are very, very strong.
Nigerian women are beautiful. I think they're smart.
Kim, aka Stan, get it because she's an obsessed fan, like us, has been binge watching The Handmaid's Tale. So she assumes that her being the first wife gives her a lot of authority over these other women.
I get to travel. I still get to do me. Like, I still do get to be Kim. I would just be married to him, right?
Stan comes across as a very ignorant woman, and it seems like she's infatuated with black men, but threatened by black women, and I don't know where that comes from, but no one likes to see a woman that seems to hate other women.
I'm the first wife, right? You know, like, I get all the love. I get all the good stuff.
Before we continue reviewing this reality TV garbage, I'd like to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Air Up. Air Up is a marvel of science, which can also be described as a water bottle with a scented pod on top. Most of us think we taste what our tongue, and that's partially correct. The tongue reads basic flavor information, sweet, sour, bitter, salty. But your nose, on the other hand, contains receptors that decodes the flavors you really love, such as coffee and apples. Here's how it works. First and foremost, you put water in the bottle, whether that's bottled water or tap water, whatever your preference is. You put the scented pod on top, you lift the pod up, and get a direct scent of flavor tone. Ready for this? Oh, wow! It makes a funny sound when you drink because the pod lets air into each sip of water, and the pod fills that air with 100% natural flavor. I chose the mixed berry flavor today, and I don't regret it because it's scrumdiddlyumptious. A huge part of my daily routine is to go on jogs around my neighborhood, and my happy thought when I come home is my ice cold beverage because I just stick the whole bottle in the fridge. My favorite thing about Air Up is that it satisfies my craving for juice because a lot of times I'll crave pineapple juice, but as you all are probably aware, juice has way too many sugars and calories. Meanwhile, Air Up has 0 calories, so it's a no-brainer. If y'all are interested in getting started with Air Up, click the link in the bio of this video. It helps out our channel immensely and is greatly appreciated. Also, her take on what would happen if Usman potentially had children with his second wife was disturbing to hear.
He gets that K1. Does he get to bring those kids over with him?
Why not? They're not going to come live with me.
But why wouldn't he want those?
Wouldn't he want his kids here?
What an I'll take this is, these are innocent children. It's not their fault that you can't conceive them and they have to have a different mother. And if you really loved Usman, you would also love his children and welcome them into your home.
Like, I've read the Islamic law.
Who are you? Like, what?
Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, but Kim has been trying to convince the audience since day one of this season that she's in love with Usman. I don't think she's in love with this guy. I think she's infatuated with him and she glorifies him because he's a D-list celebrity. Kim already communicated to the audience and Usman that she's willing to let him have children with another woman, but that woman and her children aren't welcome in her home. Her words and actions on this present season just show that she's not mentally prepared to be a sister wife, so she shouldn't be one.
I'm not a sister wife.
It's quite clear that the only arrangement that Kim will be satisfied with is having Usman Usman all to herself. If you close your eyes, baby girl Lisa and Kim sound exactly the same.
My past relationships to make me the first wife.
This dude gave both women false hope that his family would approve of them getting married when he knew damn well that his family wants him to end up with a local girl from his region that's around his age. Something else I've noticed is that Usman must think that baby girl Lisa is more attractive than Kim because Kim has spent way more money on him, got him more gifts, but he treated baby girl Lisa better than he treats Kim. Kim presented herself as a fan because she was the first one to reach out to Usman via Instagram and tell him that she's a fan of his and glorify him. So of course he's gonna think that he's doing her a favor by becoming her boyfriend. If you don't want to be treated like a fan, then don't act like a fan. Usman truly believes that he's doing Kim a great service by being with her because she's an ugly, cringe old lady, and he even said that in the latest episode that he thinks that she's ugly. And let's not forget, in one of the past episodes, Usman mentioned to Kim that he would be down to take an American woman as his second wife, and she shot that down really quick because the only thing that this girl has to hold over his head is the green card. Without that, what's to prevent him from leaving her? Nothing.
If this, whoever your second wife is from America, it's not happening. I told you this.
On Usman's season with baby girl Lisa, she bought his mother a goat and she got overcharged for that goat, but Kim saw that episode and was like, you know what? I gotta top the ex-wife, so I'm gonna buy his mom a cow. While cow shopping with Usman in Nigeria, Kim expresses to the audience that she thinks the cows are very cute and every animal to her is a pet.
Zata fara ganin mamana for the first time. Shi yasa take son ta sai shanu ta ba mama ta kyauta irin kyauta haka.
Very interesting how this man moves. This is the second old lady he's convinced to buy a farm animal for his mother. Where does it stop when they got the whole fucking nativity story? How many other old ladies are you gonna get to buy farm animals for your mom, Usman? When they met the cow salesman, he said that this was the first time he's ever met a white woman in real life, and I started laughing so hard at that. I don't even think it was a joke, but I thought it was funny. Cow salesman goes on to say that Usman's mother is gonna be really happy with this present, and I can't blame the guy because he's just trying to make a sale, but there's no way that this is normal to buy a cow for somebody you've never met in real life. But hey, can you blame the guy trying to make a sale, feed his family, sees an ignorant foreign woman that doesn't know the ways? I would straight up tell her that one cow's bad luck. I would say if you really want to impress his mom, you should buy 3 or 4 cows. Kim was feeling really good about this purchase until the cow salesman hit her with that purchase price.
About a 200,000.
200 that is about $500.
Ew. That's like my paycheck.
Now, according to Google, the price checks out for a medium-sized cow. I don't know why someone would go to buy a cow without first looking it up on Google. Like, we have such an access to information these days. Why would you choose ignorance?
That's like my paycheck.
All right, so her paycheck must be $500 a week. I'm assuming that's not monthly. Otherwise, she wouldn't be over there in Nigeria throwing bands like this.
185. You know what? Wait. Take this, count it.
Oh yeah, good job, Kim. This guy really cares about you. He let the guy that's selling you the cow count the money. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this, but what an insult to Kim, just handing her cash to a stranger. Kim admits to the audience while purchasing the cow that she's really pressed to get the mom's blessing because without her blessing, she can't marry Usman. By now, I just assume that Kim is used to falling in love with men that don't add value to her life in any way. In fact, one of her ex-husbands is a cop killer. Did y'all read about that? Let's have a true crimes moment right now. Let's read this article together from In Touch Weekly. 90 Day Fiance star Kim Menzies' ex-husband is in prison for murder. They remain friends. I bet you guys can't tell which one's Kim. Clownery 90 Day Fiance star Kim Menzies mentioned that she was previously married for 20 years to her son, Jamal Menzies' father on the show, but that's not the only marriage in her past. In Touch can exclusively confirm that Kim was previously married to a man named Kevin Gofflin, who is currently in prison for murder. Dun dun dun. Kim saw a story on TV and went to jail one weekend to visit him. A source exclusively tells In Touch about how Kim, 52, met her ex-husband. Kim believes in not judging others, and that's why she did what she did. Here's a picture of Kevin, courtesy of North Carolina Department of Public Safety. In Touch can confirm that Kevin and his brother Tillman Gofflin were arrested in September 1997. The brothers, who were teenagers at the time, were each charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of robbery with a dangerous weapon, 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, 1 count of discharging a firearm into occupied property, 1 count of possession of a stolen vehicle. Tillman, who was 19 at the time, and Kevin, who was 17 at the time, were accused of killing 2 white police officers during a traffic stop in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Despite their ages, they both faced the death penalty for the crime, which was how the law was written at the time. Due to the public outrage surrounding the case, the Gofflin brothers' trial was rushed and scheduled just 5 months after the crime was committed. In February 1998, Tillman and Kevin were tried together in a jury trial in Cumberland County by a jury selected from Johnson County. They were found guilty on all charges and sentenced to death for each murder. He was was sent to death row and she began writing and visiting him more frequently, the insider tells In Touch about Kim's bond with Kevin. She felt like there was more to the case than met the eye. She does not condone what they did or say it was right. Women that glorify cop killers and serial killers are a huge red flag, and in my opinion, they're never gonna not be weird. Anyways, let's continue reading this article. The source continues, they believe she was not in love with him, but loved him as a person. He needed someone to be his power of attorney, and that was it. The whole thing lasted about 2 years before it was annulled. Kim and Kevin were not together at the time the crime took place. They got married in January 1999. In Touch exclusively confirms via online records the marriage was never consummated. The source explains he is not Jamal's father. Kim basically took over power of attorney after the marriage, the insider adds. Kevin's death penalty sentence was eventually updated to life without parole when a North Carolina law passed that prohibited the death penalty for children under 18. Tillman's death sentence was vacated and he was sentenced to life in September 2020. 8 years after a judge ruled that racial discrimination had illegally affected the trial under the Racial Justice Act. Tim and Kevin have remained friends. He knows about the show. Kevin wants her to be his wing woman once he's released from jail. A source close to Kim adds, her past is her past and has nothing to do with her present. Nah, I mean, it still has something to do with her present because she's still prioritizing guys that don't really give a fuck about her and use her. Quick Google search will show you that Kevin's case was highly controversial and covered by the majority of TV networks. So this begs the question, did Kim do this for clout purposes? Fast forward years later, she becomes a fan of Usman from watching the show 90 Day Fiance, hits him up on Instagram, and is all of a sudden on the show. Does she just stay sliding in D-list celebrities' DMs? Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below, but this is kind of sus. So walking to this family meeting, you could hear a rat piss on cotton. I'm talking dead silence, super awkward. Immediately, the audience and even Kim could tell that the family was judging her based on her appearance and her age. Usman was fully aware this was going to happen. He said this to the audience before the meeting.
Struggling to see how we can get the blessing from mom, because my mom told me that I need to have a young lady and get married to her and get children. So at this point, I will not tell Kimberly what my mom is thinking, but I want to be optimistic.
Let's be optimistic. My family hates you. Yeah. Usman already informed Kim and the audience that all the family members gathered around the table have a say in who he can marry, but the person with the most authority is his mother. And if she doesn't give the blessing, he's not going to marry Kim.
I need you to. Because nothing tells us.
I notice how he said that she fell in love with him and not the other way around.
Ba sa'aka ba, ba yarenka ba, ba ƴan ƙasarku ba.
I understand the previous reasons, but isn't the official language in Nigeria English? Let's look it up right now. Since none of the cast members use Google, we might as well. The official language is English, but is spoken less frequently in rural areas and amongst people with lower education levels. Other major languages spoken include Hausa. Oh, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Hausa, but I believe that's a language spoken in Usman's family's region, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Sai ina so in mishi mana tuwon a ƙasar Hausa, ƴan ƙasar sunan ƙasar Hausa ake cin ƙasar.
Right now, Kim's lost in the sauce because she doesn't understand what the family is talking about, but after the family talks amongst themselves, Usman's older brother Muhammad explains in English that everyone doesn't approve of her marrying Usman.
I don't think we can support this issue. Wow.
Kim begins to cry and Usman is shooketh because he sees his green card slipping away. And what about all his dreams? He was going to collab with all the greats. Little Yachty, Little Xan. He was going to actually bring back Little Xan's career. Next you know, there's a knock on the door. Usman's brother gets up to answer the door, and it turns out the cow's being delivered that Kim bought for Usman's mother. The gift of the cow backfires though because the entire family assumes that it's a bribe.
Sai a yi bribing namu.
Saboda bala'in cin hanci.
She tries to tell the family that it's not a bribe, but the family is just speaking over her and saying things like, can we get this white lady out of the house? Kim goes on to try and plead her case with the family and profess that this is in fact not a bribe. I love your son. Yeah, you can feel bad for Kim because they compared her to baby girl Lisa the entire time. But it's also funny because Kim did the most to convince her friends and family that this was a good idea, seeking this relationship with Usman, even though he already got caught cheating on her multiple times, and one of which was on national TV during the tell-all when they showed that scene of Usman flirting with Zara and looking at her in a way that he's never looked at Kim. Begs the question, sister, why are you doing the most for a man that doesn't respect you? The majority of fans think that you should walk away with what little dignity you have left. However, in typical 90-day fashion, that's not what she does. While leaving the house, Kim and Usman are both very disappointed, and they communicate to each other that they both never saw it happening this way, which is a lie on Usman's part because he knew this was going to happen from the start. Usman then convinces Kim that they should keep trying to gain his family's approval because he doesn't want to end this relationship relationship with her because there's a couple more episodes of the show that they have to be on. Usman's family isn't seeing me for who I am. It's like talking to a brick wall. It's understandable why Kim feels like she's not given a fair shake by his family, but I think that her anger is misdirected and it should be directed at Usman, not his family. Usman's the real manipulator in the situation because he's the one that withheld this information from Kim and also egged her on to buy the cow, but wanted her to look stupid in front of his entire family. You know how easy it would have been for this guy to take accountability and speak up and inform his family that the cow was his idea, but he didn't.
That's suspicious.
Kim then informs Usman's family that she already verbally agreed to allow him to have a second wife so that he could have children.
I'm willing to let him take a second wife. Like me allowing him to have a second wife, that's a lot for me in my culture.
His mom then says that she doesn't oppose the idea of Usman taking an older bride, but first he should take a younger bride. And this is actually a huge problem for Kim and Usman because remember, she only agreed to allow him to take a second wife because he assured her that she would be the first wife. Oh, it's so awkward. So after making it crystal clear that the mother is not going to give her blessing for them to get married, she stands up, turns her back on them, and asks them to leave. As frustrating as this probably feels for Kim, I want to say kudos to her for holding herself well. She literally just stands up, says thank you for having her, and then politely walks out of the house. If this was Angela, not Kim, she would have beat up his entire family while calling them racist slurs and then probably got a Christmas bonus from the network, as I guess physical assault is allowed. Anyways, Usman convinces Kim that the best course of action is to stay in Nigeria with him and think up ways to win his family's approval. Obviously, Dudes is trying to milk it for a couple more episodes, but Kim agrees because she's very desperate and she's already spent so much time in this relationship and doesn't want to hear "I told you so" from just about the entire world. Next day, Kim and Usman meet outside. They're supposed to be planning their next course of action with regards to obtaining the mother's approval, but before they talk big business, Usman gets a pedicure from a guy off the street and brags about how cheap it is.
Are you listening?
I'm listening, babe.
When this is happening, Kim's getting a little irritated and hot and bothered because she feels like he's not taking this meeting seriously.
I'm not going to be your second wife. I refuse that. And if I leave here single, I leave here single. I love you, and I'll be heartbroken very, very long. But
Babe.
no, sir.
Hell yeah, brother. Snaps for Stan putting her foot down and saying that she's not willing to be the second wife.
If she said that she's going to break up, this is so disrespectful. I've been investing my time for over 2 years.
This man is absolutely trolling and just trying to convince this girl that he's compromising more in this relationship when he's not.
I've been compromising more than what you compromise. You're not compromising anything to me. I compromise more than you.
What a whole ass lie this man is telling. She's been shelling out money since she got there. She's been paying for the dates. She's been paying for all the gifts she got him. She's been giving up way more in this relationship. It's not even close. But Usman once again feels like because he's younger than her and better looking than her, that he's making a sacrifice just being with her. You know what's really annoying when dudes like this try to turn an argument into a competition? She was just trying to have a conversation about what their next course of action would be. It's all about Usman. It's not about whatever partner you're with. And the reason, like, I finally see why this guy goes for old women, because any woman his age wouldn't put up with the disrespect, because what Usman wants is a woman that prioritizes him, his needs. It's all about him. He's the star, and the other person needs to be subservient to him. That works with an old desperate lady like Kim because she doesn't believe that she can get better than that, and that's what she's seen, and that's the way she's been treated in past relationships. He flat out could never be with a woman that's young, beautiful, and respects herself, which is why he targets these girls. And for his other point of it's disrespectful that she doesn't want to be the second wife, no, but he wants to start an argument with her and slowly break away at her self-worth, her sense of self-worth, so that he can get his way. Usman then once again tries to convince Kim that she should be so grateful that he's willing to be in a relationship with her because he said no and turned down women that are way more beautiful than she is. The scene is so crazy because all Kim was asking Usman is to relate to his family that she's not willing to be the second wife. She wants to be the first wife. He takes offense to this for no reason because he's not used to not getting his way, so she runs away crying, and this is what Usman has to say to the audience.
My DM is full to young, beautiful, rich ladies. So who is losing? I'm not losing. I don't think I'm losing.
Oh yeah, bet you got those DMs, Usman. That's why we haven't seen you with the young, rich, beautiful girl on the show, only old ladies. I'm willing to bet that you're lying about that to save face because you think you're an international superstar. I hate to burst your bubble, bubble boy, but you're not. And no one would know about your shitty music unless they watch this show. Very obvious to everybody with eyeballs that watches this show that Usman only entertains this girl because she feeds his ego, and she's a way for him to get back on the show and once again promote his music for another season. I see it that way. The audience audience sees it that way. Even her friends and family see it that way. The only one person that doesn't see it that way is Kim. In a previous episode of the show, Kim's son Jamal asked his mother, what does Usman do to show you that he cares about you? And would you believe it, when her son asked this question, Kim didn't have a response because he doesn't do anything to show that he cares. Kim, aka Stan, needs to realize that it's okay for a relationship to not work out, especially when you're on two completely different wavelengths in terms of emotional maturity. I've seen a lot of online sympathy for Kim, but y'all have to remember that she's chose to ignore the past years of red flags, and it just goes to show that sometimes we choose our misery. This girl's been very vocal about her immense love for Usman. If she loved herself as much as she claims to love this dude, she wouldn't be on the show. She would actually probably be in a happy relationship. When Usman indirectly called Kim ugly, she responded with, so am I ugly now? Well then maybe you should go be with them. Then she stands up from the table and hobbles back to her hotel room. Hopefully she doesn't trip on her tears or something. You can hear Mr. Krabs playing the world's smallest violin. This scene was so sad to see. When Kimberly gets back to her hotel room, she says to the audience, like, I'm some ugly bitch. Fuck him. Let him find someone that's as good as I am. Let him find somebody that's as loyal as I am. Fuck him for saying that. I mean, everything she said was facts. I don't know where Usman's confidence comes from, because look-wise, he's like a 5 out of 10, success-wise like a 3 out of 10, and then relationship-wise about a 1 out of 10. And I say a 1 out of 10 relationship-wise because any old lady he's with, he makes them take the back seat and prioritize all of his needs, and he thinks that his only responsibility in the relationship is to dick them down. If you stop and think about it, Usman is just a male sugar baby, because every girl that he convinces to come visit him in Africa has to pay for their hotel room, the dates. Like, this guy doesn't even pay for anything. And what affected me most about the situation is that they keep calling his penis a yam, and I can't look at yams anymore when I go to the grocery store because all I think of is cock, and that's sus. What about how after Kim and Usman do not receive his family's blessing, they're driving back to their hotel room and he seems happy as fuck.
Hey.
Might be the last couple days we do it. Like, we just left all of that, and you're just, like, chilling. I know, I wish I had your confidence.
This guy's trolling this old lady so hard. He's so happy that his mom didn't approve of her marrying him. Oh, cool, your mom doesn't approve of me, but you're gonna dick me down twice tonight? Thanks, bro. Maybe I'm wrong, but I assume that she wanted him to be there for her emotionally, not physically, but... what do I know? That entire meeting with Usman's family, it seemed like his family was just revolted to be in the presence of Kim, and they made no effort to get to know her as a person and just constantly compared her to baby girl Lisa the entire time. I understand that for the family, Kim didn't meet the age requirement or the skin requirement to marry Usman, but nevertheless, like, this dude is not a prize. I don't think that they should constantly glorify Usman when he's not really out of her league. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, but I feel like if the majority of people place less of an emphasis on looks and more of an emphasis on a partner that makes you feel secure and better and prioritizes your needs and your wants, I think that people will be more successful in their relationship. I think platforms like Instagram, where you're constantly comparing the best moments of your life to everyone else, and people facetune their photos and put such an emphasis and importance on what they look like, works against us all in a society, because I feel like it's almost glorifying those things, right? As a man, you have to drive a luxury car, you have to have a great job. If you want to get this woman that looks like a supermodel, you need to look like this and have this much money in your bank account. There is a certain agenda being pushed to our society that I do not fundamentally agree with. It's really easy to have a shallow perspective on the situation and say that Usman is out of Kim's league because he looks this way and he's younger than her, but realistically, after watching them interact in this relationship, Kim is out of his league. Does she have her moments where she's disrespectful and ignorant? 100%. However, he puts her in a lot of those situations to get her to react on camera. Usman really expects every girl he dates to prioritize his needs, take the back seat, and his only role in the relationship is to give them the 5 seconds of fury. And this arrangement that he wants in every relationship wouldn't fly with a girl around his age or my age, which is why he targets these old girls. Especially when you add the fact that this man is not loyal. He's been caught cheating on Kim multiple times with many girls. We've ragged on Stan quite a bit in this video, but it's undeniable that she's put in more effort into this relationship than Usman has. I'm so zooted right now, I just realized that I didn't have my lights on this entire time I was talking. Kim is so delusional and desperate that I'm pretty sure she's gonna forgive Usman despite all the nasty things he said to her in this latest episode and tried to make things work with him in Nigeria. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Comment below, subscribe, follow me on Twitch and Instagram right now.